Hmm. Hello. 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 Hey there. Hi. Hi again. Hmm. Strange seeing you here today. Okay. How many people we got in here right now? Like 4. It is a Tuesday. Tuesday tends to be a lot slower than, say, something like Saturday. It's to be expected. Plus, it's better if I do my my well, I'll be honest. Every single stream I do is rambly. I've been rambling since I was a kid. Only I used to do it in my head or in my room by myself. Now I do it in public. To what avail? I have no clue. But apparently some of my rambling has been of use to some people and has annoyed others. And either way, it's fine by me. In any case, I do have something to speak on. If you haven't been here on a Tuesday before, generally it's just me and my take on something, or something that's just been rattling around in my empty head for a bit, or mostly that week. My brain tends to want to shift from one concept to another, and then just kind of rabbit hole from there at times. Or I'll return to something at a later time. You know, things like that. Okay. May as well get started. I doubt that many more people are going to show up. We shall see. So, this is what I wanted to talk about a little bit, and why I called it Ideological Pizza. You probably saw the title, wonder what the hell does that mean? What does ideology and pizza have to do with each other? Well, tell me, by the way, just before I get yammering here or yapping, is the music too loud? Because it sounds like it would be a little too loud to me, but I don't mind it. But I don't want it to impact the stream. Should I lower it a tad bit? Just waiting for the response before I get going. Any one of you. There's a delay, so sorry if you already said so, but I'm still looking like I'm waiting. Fine is not good enough. Yeah, I'll lower it a little. Okay, then. So, I was having a conversation with someone on Discord about how ideas get, like, oftentimes very mixed up. They get all jumbled up. Um, uh, Assumptions in communication are made, oftentimes getting mismanaged inside the mind of the person. I've been someone that has dealt with this as well as produced it, though I attempt to do a lot less of that now that I'm an old fart as I am. But it's when origin ideas, like when an idea of some kind, right, that has specific parameters, becomes oddly co-opted by other people's intentions, wants, and needs. So, somebody might have an idea, right? Let's just call this idea, well, since this is my channel, let's call it angstism, right? And then, you know, I come up with it or something, and then I decide these are the parameters, and this is what it's intended for specifically. This is what it's attempting to. This is the problem it's attempting to figure out. It's a theory, and it has like specific ideas in mind, right? Now, if other people start taking up this idea, then other people's intentions and wants and needs, especially if a large portion of the people that begin to implement or integrate the idea, either in a practical way or more just like in a philosophical way, in a thought process way, maybe in a personal life changing way. Because many of the people that have partaken in this idea have certain types of groupings of interest, right? Over time, those those individual interests of those individual groups, or maybe the new philosophical ideas that starts that were maybe already within the people who join up with this one other idea, start getting integrated into it, right? So so you might end up with a modified, many other things added to it, variation of what the original idea was, and then over the course of like a few decades of the individuals who originally they got the original idea, and then they started implementing it alongside of things they believed made sense to implement it with, right? Although ultimately it was just a vehicle. The idea became a vehicle to satisfy pushing other things that might personally affect them or benefit them, or negatively affect people they perceive to be their enemies or their oppressor. And after decades of promoting it as such, not as the idea it started as or was focused, or what the focus was originally, you end up in a situation in which that all those additions that happened along the way become synonymous in the mind of people with the idea as a whole. If I'm making any sense. So all those additions that happen over the course of its advocacy, over its propagating, over its deliberating of it, and discussing and debate and so on over the course of, like, let's just say, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 years, longer. It just it keeps getting stuff thrown onto it. And then that gets forgotten. That's what's interesting. All the additional stuff that gets thrown onto it gets forgotten. And like weird associations start occurring that were never initially intended. It's almost, I don't know if I would call it a corruption, but it could sometimes be, for sure, a corruption. It could be interpreted that way. So I associated to pizza. I was trying to think of a food that, like, what food is most like this idea that I'm trying to come up with, and the problems it causes. And it's pizza. Right? The reason I chose pizza is because it's it's a well beloved food throughout many parts of the world, especially the West. People know about pizza all over the place, even if pizza's not a dish that's like, obviously popular in their part of the world, but they probably heard of pizza. They probably kind of have an idea what it is. Piece of bread, with cheese and tomato sauce and pepperonis or anything, whatever is on top of it, right? It's a foundation, right? And it's not even just the cheese piece, just the, but even that has variations. The crust or the breading, the dough, right? There's even differences there. But anyway, we'll just go with the base dough, right, and then a layer of cheese. And depending on who you ask, if you ask them, hey, describe a pizza, um, most people are probably going to say like, oh, it's dough and some cheese and tomato sauce and pepperonis. They're almost always gonna mention pepperonis. Like how the Nazi Party symbol doesn't mean peace anymore, balance and that stuff. Yeah, yeah, sort of. Yeah, there's like, you can't. There's no nuance there, right? But that one's complicated. But yeah, it's sort of like that. That's like a very extreme example, but an apt one. So toppings, and there's what I meant. I chose pizza because toppings aren't necessary. They're not a necessary component to pizza. You could have just a cheese pizza, right? You don't need pepperoni for it to be a pizza. You don't need sausage. You don't need pineapple. You don't need any of these things. None of these things that get added to a pizza are a requirement to make it a pizza. Now you can argue back and forth on the nuance of what makes an actual pizza a pizza. Is it merely the dough? Is it the dough in addition to some kind of cheese or sauce? Is the sauce a requirement? Blah, blah, blah. Right? But there's a general consensus, I would say, among most people that dough, sauce, cheese equals pizza. But no one really argues too much about what toppings equal pizza. Right? Now, somebody might say, well, the best pizza is pizza with these toppings and this, these types of toppings. Some might say, oh, sardines, amazing. Others, disgusting. Why would you have that? Right? That was even that meme a couple years ago where people were like having this pineapple thing, stupid thing, right? About like, oh, pineapple means you're like a sicko or something. But that was all like in jest, whatever. Nobody give a shit. But this is kind of what happens when it comes to foundational ideas. So a good example of stuff that you might have heard other people do that it's always confused me and bothered me, and I wrote down a few examples when I was talking to my friend. Where is it? There we go. I said, pizza has various toppings people use for, so pizza is also those toppings. The toppings are not intrinsically tied to the making of pizza. Thinking that pizza must have pepperoni to be pizza is stupid. And then I put some examples of things people could do, and I'm sure you're going to recognize what I'm talking about, but I'm going to put it in like pizza terms. Ha! It's one of those pizza lovers. Must be one of those sick pineapple enjoyers. That guy doesn't like onions on his pizza. He must secretly hate pizza. He refuses to put every ingredient he can think of in his pizza. This must be some kind of pizza-loving grifter. They say they only like cheese pizza. It's only a matter of time before they put sardines in it. They say they like extra cheese. They're just dog whistling to deep dish lovers. Okay, so do those examples make any sense as to what it is I'm trying to say? It goes a bit further than, because like I've heard the example of like, oh well, you like this, oh so you must hate that, right? That's an example people have done, but I feel like pizza sort of because of the toppings element, and so there's so many variables. It's a much more complex system of like where people can make assumptions about your intention with the pizza, right? And where these divisions can occur. Obviously, pizza being just a big stupid metaphor. How many times in your life, and I think this is something that probably happens to a lot of schizoids, have you, I don't know, played devil's advocate for something, or wanted to bring some nuance to the table, or had a question? People assume a variety of things about you because you did so. Right? Similarly to, how somebody made put downcast eyes upon you because you decided, no, I don't like sausage on pizza. That's gross. I prefer ham or whatever ingredient. Broccoli. There's a lot of ingredients that people use now. And then all the assumptions that come with that decision making. It's sort of like if we were talking about, like, I don't know, economic systems or something. Like if somebody said, I don't really like capitalism. Many people will just say, oh, he must be a communist. And vice versa. And then there's like all these other avenues in which that sort of level of thing can occur. And then people basically start having conversations, debates, and such based on different pizzas with different toppings and assumptions of toppings and pizzas that the other person has, and what those toppings mean, and why they put them in their pizza, and what the type of pizza they choose and the variation of toppings they pick actually means or doesn't mean or secretly means. It's very annoying. It's very frustrating. It's been something that essentially has been haunting me since I was like mostly probably a teen. 40 now, so been at it for a bit. Earlier, well, I occasionally like to watch debates on either anything ranging from like, you know, economic stuff, academic stuff, etiological stuff, philosophical stuff, um, social issues, whatever. Right? We all know debate is mostly a waste of time. Um, and one of the things that makes it a waste of time, what makes the majority of debates, especially on the internet, but even on an academic level, like, right, we're talking like, the most intelligent people of their what have you, ideological position, the most well-known academic advocate or whatever, pundit. I don't know what you would call them at this point. A content creator. Um, when you get them in a room together and they start debating, no, it feels like no one can see through the noise. The noise is just, there's so much. There's so goddamn much. And no one bothers doing anything about it because, well, one of the reasons I think that no one bothers is because a lot of their argumentation is predicated on those assumptions. Right? And so then when these types of debates occur, both parties will have built-in assumptions about the toppings on the other person's pizza and what that means. So then they're arguing against entirely different ideas than the one that they think they're the person, what the person that is speaking on the other end is actually espousing, right? So obviously this leads to massive amounts of miscommunication, misinterpretation, and ultimately leads up to nothing useful. If anything, I think debates, the only thing they really show you is they teach you a little bit about the character of the individual doing it. And the same thing happens when I listen to TEDx or TED Talks, and I listen to any talks that have to do with some major ideological schema, right? Throughout their PowerPoint presentations or what have you, there's all these toppings they're assuming are on that pizza, on that idea, because those ideas have been associated to that thing for so long, even if that thing never specified that it required said things, right? So it's the strangest thing, because then after, and I'm not just talking about one idea, that can happen to multiple ideas, multiple positions, and you end up after you get after an idea has existed for like 100 years, you end up with 20-something-year-old people that are arguing in favor and against some mutated form of their own idea and their opponent's idea, and oftentimes neither party is aware said mutations occurred, because sometimes of their youth, or the assumptions that academia itself has made throughout the decades, which then has been kind of put in the texts that are considered to be sort of the canon of that ideology, or the late game canon, late season canon. Or it reminds me of starting a new show that ends up having like 7 seasons or 6 seasons, and the first season is like, wow, that was really good stuff, and then the second season you're like, that was even better than the first season. They really thought out, because they got they got popular, they got a budget, they really thought out what they wanted to flesh out, so then they really did that right. And then the next season comes out, and the next season comes out, and the next season comes out, and one of the things that starts affecting those seasons of a show are outside interference, public perception of the show. Obviously, now that there's increase of income coming from that show, producers and studios and streaming services are now dipping their finger in how that show should be constructed. Cast members may be changed, and I'm not talking about actors, but the behind the scenes members may be altered and changed for various reasons that I'm not going to get into. But point is, you end up with a show that's on its 7th season, and for a lot of people, it started from the beginning, especially those that started from the beginning back when it first released, didn't just binge watch all 7. They often are disappointed. They are often disillusioned with what it led up to. They might have given up season 4. Maybe they considered that the turning point, the path of no return, beyond. What do you call it? The what is it called when it's an atmosphere thing? It's like drop. It's I don't. Anyway, so the people check out, and then you have a lot of weird arguments among fan bases and such. And there's always that question of what happened to the show? What happened? Too many toppings on that pizza. You put enough toppings on a pizza, it's going to taste like shit. Jumping the shark, that's a good one. But you put too many toppings on a pizza, eventually it's going to taste like shit to somebody. Right? Pepperoni pizza, most people, they're probably fine. Obviously not like vegans and stuff. But a cheese, well, how about this? We'll start with a cheese pizza. Cheese pizza, not the best to most people. A lot of people out there like it. Most people eat it and they'll go, well, what's a cheese pizza? I'm hungry. Then you add like pepperoni, right? And then obviously that makes all the vegetarians. Vegans aren't eating the pizza at all at this point because of the cheese, but then they can replace the cheese with something else. But vegetarians are like, no, I'm not having this pizza. It's got animal products. Well, of this but meat. It has like meat in it, so I'm no longer having this pizza. And then eventually, sausage. Oh, sausage, just pork. That's not religiously working for me, so they can't have that. They don't want that pizza. And pineapple. I don't like savory sweet. That's disgusting. No pizza for you. So on and so forth. Right. Eventually, you'll find a topping combination to where you discuss somebody, and then what's funny is that even if a person likes every single topping, let's just say like there's like 100 toppings, and if you gave them each individual topping on individual pizzas on different days, they'd be like, yeah, it's fine. I like some more than others, but they're all fine. But if you were to put all 100 toppings into that pizza, everyone's gonna fucking hate it. It's gonna be fucking crazy. It's gonna taste like shit. It's gonna be more toppings than goddamn like cheese sauce. It's just gonna be crazy. And that's what happens to ideas. And it's frustrating. But we're still are the first few toppings that get put on it that become staples of what that pizza, that idea is and associated with. And the subcategories and the subcategories and the subcategories. So that it makes the exchange of ideas oftentimes futile. It's kind of what leads to the whole issue of like, well, people can't be convinced of anything. The idea of you're not going to change anyone's mind. People's minds cannot be changed. I disagree with that. My mind has been changed many times by outside interference. But in general, the idea is that minds don't often get changed unless there's something that suits them to change it. Sounds like that Everything, Everywhere, All at Once movie. That's a very good movie. That's a fun movie. A lot of people that watch it, like, I don't know, they just thought it was really fun or something. Or they thought it was funny or something. I think it was like one of the most hopeful. It was like an optimistic nihilism type movie, which I respected. Um, the Everything Bagel, right? That was the literally Everything Bagel. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that think of an idea, like a big one, right? The ones that usually come to mind are like political ones or religious ones. Political ones, religious ones, and then thoughts on free will. I'll get into that. That's fun. Um, Political ones, religious ones, so on and so forth. There's so many just talking over what the other people think or feel or believe about it. And even if you're talking about religion, right? You have obviously like Orthodox, uh, neo versions of stuff, and so on and so forth. And even the one that claims to be Orthodox, has its own subset of canon changes that happened prior to what they established to be that orthodoxy. And I feel like most people don't really want to think about that stuff or separate those things. They just need the idea to work under the assumptions that build upon their personal wants. Because oftentimes the moment the movement changes against the ideas or the personal wants and needs of that individual, right? They jump ship. Or they jump ship when they discover it didn't actually mean what they thought it meant. Why you would get on a ship without knowing or having a better understanding of what you thought it meant is beyond me. Thus, I am the often called perpetual fence sitter. Another interesting term. I'd like some input, but I'll get into free will a little bit. As far as free will goes, I think the question doesn't matter. Personally, I think it's just a pointless question because you're likely never going to be able to like verify or disprove it because oftentimes people associate like very very complex like metaphysical or psychological or neurological arguments, and a lot of those arguments they just don't work together. Like you can't even have a conversation because there's baseline assumptions or understandings that those particular groups will never want to budge on. So free will is just so like, does it really even matter? You know, like even if we had an answer, how much would it really change? Like oh, free will doesn't exist. Oh yeah, is every human on Earth just gonna automatically like just backflip like altogether? Because oh no, the despair of not having free will. Or if free will does exist, it's like, oh my gosh, all my decisions, there is no fate. All my decisions are mine. I am responsible for every action I take. Because the if free will didn't exist, I don't think that human society or people around you would stop holding you accountable for your actions. Right? It wouldn't be like, oh well, nobody's accountable for anything to do. We have no free will. Why were we punishing any criminal? He has no free will. Who are we punishing? I suspect people's attraction and attachments to ideas are often more emotional or circumstantial than logical. People will find justification for themselves or will make it. Yeah, but oftentimes people use rational, logical argumentation to do the same. Because that, like, a lot of it is infused with emotion regardless of how objective an individual claims to be. There's always this sort of small tidbit of, you know, feeding into something that you require to justify the existence of yourself and everything around you as something that is worthwhile or matters in some capacity. So but yeah, I don't think the free will question matters. I don't think it's going to change anything. Whether we discover it's real or isn't. How the fuck would you ever do that? Right? How could you ever verify? Like, I know there's ideas that like the human brain like somehow decides your next action on its own, essentially, based on a variety of other parameters that you don't have direct control over, and then it creates the illusion that you made the decision. I've heard that said. But who cares? Fuck does it matter? Are you gonna just start like giving into every single one of your impulses? Unlikely. I just don't think it would change anything. Now, the illusion, if in fact free will is an illusion, it has a lot of uses. Hmm. Yeah, I remember looking at something about how we essentially transitioned from a civilization that mainly integrated fate as the kind of main existential drive for like a lot of cultures, religions throughout human history, and then like free will was introduced through things like Christianity and other stuff. Um, and the belief that humans can sever their fate, or sever there is no fate, or they can sever this fate in some means or another. Um, yeah, no, we could discuss this forever for sure. There's only ever been found conclusively on a small scale decisions as well. That's only ever been found conclusively on a small scale decision as well. Oh yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Right. I think that's part of the reason. Those are some of the questions that I don't know that we'll ever get an answer to regarding consciousness and human thought, and it's probably what's going to keep um, human beings from ever getting rid of every single one of their metaphysical beliefs. And I don't think that we. I don't think it would be healthy for us to do so anyway. Um, what I find something I brought up in the past, and I've always thought about, probably since I was like, I don't know, 22 or something, 21, is how to some degree or another, because of the lack of information, a lot of even objective fact is coming through. It still requires a form of like, what would it be, like faith in your perception, or if you know what I'm saying. It was like even when I was like a 5-year-old, one of the first things that would haunt me all the time when I was a kid, growing up, was not being able to have the answer to every why. Always fucked me up. I would like freak myself out as a kid. The infinity of the why, and you always get to that point where it's either just because, or it's, oh, because we haven't figured it out. We don't know yet. That's generally the only answer you can get with enough whys, right? If from people that are far more spiritual in nature, they might say something like, well, that's why, because ultimately it's something of a divine thing beyond human capacity to understand. And other people would say, oh no, it's just because we don't have the tech. We don't have the tech, we don't have the science, we don't have the resources to like research that or really figure it out, so on and so forth, right? Like, it's really funny because like you still have a lot of like middle school teaching and stuff, like saying, oh yeah, everything's made up of atoms. It's like, okay, but you know, the further we go down that rabbit hole, the more things are made up of. And I don't think there's ever going to be an end to the infinite why. I don't think that's there. I don't think there's an answer to that. It's kind of a silly question to like contemplate for too long. Some people will dedicate their lives to it and lose their fucking minds. Especially within the physics and mathematical world. They see that, yeah, it gets really bad. Well, yeah. Even if even when a child is asking why, eventually a parent will, because of their lack of knowledge, they will say, well, that's just how it is. And eventually, even the most intelligent, capable specialist on the very subject will eventually reach that same point, though with far more words. And if they make the statement of, that's where it ends, that's where it stops. That people already said that before about other things like the atom and like quarks and all that shit, and getting further beyond that. Too many toppings on those pizzas. No, those are far more interesting pizzas than the one people are constantly arguing about. Yeah, but that kind of stuff used to fucking, that's the stuff that would like give me night terrors as a kid. Is like how it would like my body would get scared of like the idea that like there's no definitive answer to anything, right? I developed very early existential dread, which I've thankfully overcome significantly in life. Hooray for nihilism. So anyway, when you find yourself arguing or debating a point on the internet, stop and think for a second and go, am I making assumptions about the other person and what they believe based on my understanding, or sometimes not even fully fleshed out understanding of their position? And should I stop and ask more questions and analyze that a bit further, or do I get frustrated and start merely functioning under a variety of assumptions, or the understanding I've gathered in bits and pieces about what their position is and what it entails and what it means, right? It's kind of funny. It's like a lot of schizoids constantly complain about, and they have every right to do about things like the DSM. How it's like it's just behaviors, right? It's all it's looking at behaviors, and I complain about that as well. But we still do that kind of stuff in regards to how we define things outside of psychology. Even on a personal level, we'll create like a criteria for something. And it's interesting because like if I say something like, and by the way, I'm not, but because of so many different pieces, it's just a silly word. Like the word means nothing anymore. A lot of words like capitalism and socialism and communism and libertarianism, all like a lot of those words don't mean anything anymore. Uh, well, they still mean something. They meant what they were intentionally meant to mean, but like when people hear those words, they don't mean what they were intended to mean anymore. And so it's kind of weird. It feels kind of weird and pointless to argue such things with other people, unless you're arguing with people that are willing and open to learn about its origins, how it's meant to, and what it's turned into. Like talk to a communist and then talk to them about Don't talk to them about why their thing is bad and your thing is good or better. Is to, dropping citations. The best question is like asking them what do you think about what your thing is and how it's explained and discussed today compared to what it was intended to be. That's a more important question. And do you agree or disagree with these changes? And do you think whether it fulfills the intent of the original idea? Is that important, or is it merely a vehicle to push forward ideas that might not necessarily be intrinsic to it, but are now ideas that you support? Also, as he caught me off guard, when you say hooray for nihilism, would you suppose nihilism is a common philosophical framework among schizoids? I would say it's like probably a higher chance. I would say there's probably like a higher degree of nihilists among schizoids than not. I would say like proportionally. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But it depends on like the person, right? For some people, like nihilism, they get into the whole like hole, and then other people are like, yeah, oh, what a relief. That's me. For me, it provides relief. It used to provide fear, but now provides relief. But I would assume it's probably really common. Same with something like antinatalism. It's probably pretty common. Like not like common as in like 60% of schizoids are nihilists and antinatalists. No, I'm just saying that like even if it's like 5% or 3% of schizoids, I'm fairly sure if you're talking about like the general human population, it's probably in like the 0.00 whatever, and definitely not any kind of single digit. But so yes, proportionally, I think there's probably way more kind of nihilistic perspectives and positions and philosophies that haunt a portion of people that would be considered or consider themselves schizoid or what have you. That's my thought on that. Do with it what you will. Oh yeah, I should probably plug myself as I usually, if I want to be a proper person that has a YouTube channel. If you remember Tuesdays, usually I'll just ramble about something. I have another ramble that I want, but I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to save that one for Tuesday. That one's going to be fun. I think, what was that one about? It was going to be blah 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 blah. If you want to tune in next Tuesday, I want to talk about. Oh yeah, human beings becoming resigned to paradigms that exist on a species-wide scale. That's kind of like that's something I want to ramble about. So that'll be probably next Tuesday. I'll save it for them. Um, any questions about my stupid thoughts, my awful take on the subject of debates, how ideas mutate and don't always. They're oftentimes not beneficial mutations. My metaphor of the pizza and toppings and how I used it. Um, my thoughts on free will. So on. If any has questions, that'd be fine. Oh, actually, you know what? I could do a poll. Let me see here. Since there's like 11 of you, might as well just do a little poll. Why is it not letting me do a poll? Why? There we go. There we go. I'll put it out right now. All right, there we go. There, that's a fun one. And remember, if you vote on the poll, it won't show me who voted what, so it's anonymous. I know all of you aren't schizoids, but I'm curious what the 14 people here have to say. Please vote if you can. Remember, I won't be able to see your name, so I won't know who did what. I just want to see, even amongst this handful, maybe I just attract people of that nature. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it has nothing to do with being schizoid. At least in this case, it's just too small a sample size. And it's a very inaccurate one, considering that there's people in here that aren't zoids at all. Or they're other things, and they just happen to like whatever it is I discuss. It's a good question for the server. It's probably been asked before, to be honest. Yeah, see, we already have 6 votes, and like half of them are, well, 67% are yes. Even if like, I bet if you got a like a random sample of like 14, 13 people, man, it's gonna be super not on the side of nihilism. Like, it's just always either gonna be entirely no, or like one person says yes. But mostly you're gonna get no's across the board. Oh man, I didn't even type it correctly. I put human instead of humans. Well, I suck at writing anyway. Yeah, I mean, I find it comforting. Like, is it intrinsic or like sort of um like a universal, like we have like like our existence has some kind of meaning, or existence itself, our existence, it has meaning of outside of, like, it has like intrinsic universal meaning, you know, not just meaning that has to do with like, oh, I gave it meaning, right? But like, it has meaning. It's kind of what I mean. Because like an existentialist will say that, oh, meaning is created, right? So yeah, actually, actually no, take it back. It would, sorry, I said it completely wrong. It would be that you also don't think that meaning, like the meaning that you create, has like actual meaning. Like, even that doesn't actually have meaning. That's what I mean. That would be more of a nihilistic route. The existentialist would just claim that the meaning you place upon things is what is true meaning, and that is like the meaning of life, or the meaning. It is what it is, and shall be what it shall be. That's the best I can come up with. Yeah, it works. It's fun times had by all. Negative worth is independent of pro attitudes toward that thing. Yeah, you're right. Then maybe I used a bad term. Maybe I'm stupid. But there are people that think there is like objective worth, though. Like, in other words, like people that like believe in any kind of like religious, especially monotheistic type deal, right? God creates meaning, thus meaning is, there is objective meaning in the universe, and he's its deliberator. Yeah, subject a priori. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Down with the moral majority. I want to be the minority. All right, man. That's cool. If you want to be the minority, just like, why aren't you in prison already? You already would have done all kinds of awful crimes. Or is it just self-preservation? In which case, that's a whole different deal. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's 7 people. And that's a 71% yes. So, I probably worded the question stupid. But nonetheless. Yeah, I doubt you're going to get that much going on. It's a Green Day song? What he said? Oh, that's funny. You definitely don't want to. So that's it. Oh yeah, got it. I forgot. Now I remember that song. Oh, you're just shit posting. But yeah, I don't think either of those is good. Being a part of the moral majority or the moral minority is necessarily good. Well, a lot of people don't sound stupid, but they are stupid. But hey, good news. I hot up you channel or whoever it is to attack and take down for no reason. What? I don't know what you're saying. Active Research 2. It's Active Research 2. Did you change your name, or is this a different account? Because it was just Active Research before. You should change to Inactive Research. That would be funny. Got and you have fun. Yeah, you should be Inactive Research. That'd be funnier. Because I don't even know what that would look like. What would Inactive Research look like? I know what Active Research looks like. Is Inactive Research like where you just lay there and let the ideas come to you, like through dreams or something? Would that be Inactive Research? It's just whatever floats into my mind. I'm an inactive researcher. That's funny. I like that. I like to be both an active nescience. Yeah, okay, sorry. I haven't heard that word in a long ass time. I still don't fully remember what it means, but I know I've nescience. I know it has to do with the topic, but I can't for the life of me. That channel, 18 fucking years old, had 2,600 plus subscriptions. Really? Why'd you get rid of it? What happened? You just like gave up on it, or did it get taken down? Man, I'm exhausted. Wait, did I already shill? I don't remember. I'll just do it again. If you like the rambles, if you like the channel, it was wrongly attacked. Oh, like somebody flagged it like crazy for some bullshit reason? That sucks. Yeah, the YouTube algo when it comes to that kind of stuff is awful, man. Ugh. Sorry to hear that, dude. I'm all siding with you. I go to like their channel. It's like the JQ. You know, it's like oh, that sucks, man. I don't even know what's on your channel. No, if you like the rambles, if you like the stuff I actually do that probably matters a lot more, which is the schizoid advocacy stuff and things like that. Yeah, think about just joining my Patreon. Or I have a, I keep forgetting to link it. I have one of those coffee accounts. If you want like to know like a lot less, I think, or no money to go to anyone but me when you like subscribe to me, I think coffee or whatever is better. So yeah, I have one of those too. I think I have like one member on that, and then I actually have like most of the people that do throw a few bucks my way are on Patreon. I wish I could just transfer them all over to that coffee place, but because yeah, Patreon's kind of stupid. Yeah, I don't even use like nobody that supports me on there wants content from me on the Patreon. Like nobody fucking cares about that shit. I think that shit's only good if you're like a influencer there, like charisma based kind of influencer, or like you're an artist and you're putting like exclusives, or you do animations and you put behind the scenes shit in there, or something of that nature. I don't know. I don't see what I would put on there that would be useful. I used to put like early access to like interviews I would do. It didn't really work because like I would put it on my Patreon and then I would look at how many people viewed it like early and it'd be like 3. I'd be like, the fuck? Why am I putting anything on here? It's stupid. It's just a waste of time. And anytime I've asked, like, do you guys want me to do something in here? And they're just like, no, we don't care. And I'm like, that's right. That's my demo. I keep forgetting. But then I think about it and I go, yeah, man, like when I've signed up to someone's Patreon in the past, like I don't even look at it. I just go like, this person's cooking. And, you know, if I have the $5 a month I can give them, I'd be like, this person's cooking. I think I only have like, right now I think, because I'm well, broke as all hell, but I think I'm only putting like two, I think I have 2 Patreon accounts that I support. I think there's 2. I throw like $5 at or something for reasons. What will you guys be doing today? I shall be as usual sitting in my server in my channel playing video games and watching videos on stuff. And opening the links on another window of some of the stuff underneath the video that are citations or what have you, which is fun sometimes. Do you accept meme coins? No. That's because like I used to have a Coinbase account way back. I fucked around with the whole crypto thing like a few years, like a couple of years ago, and I thought this is fun. It's stupid, and then I tried to make a few bucks off of it, and I ended up just breaking even, and then just kind of went, nah, not for me. And so then I had a Coinbase account that I was just kind of holding on to for a while, just in case I wanted to be like, hey, give me Bitcoin or whatever, pay me in Bitcoin. And then I kind of like stopped paying attention to it, and I have access to it still, but they're like asking me to put my like ID or something, you know, verification stuff. And if I was still using it, I don't care, I do it, but I'm not, and I don't know that I will be. So I think I still, don't tell me I still have my Bitcoin address on here. No, like I've only had one person ever give it, like I think in the in like the almost 4 years I've been fucking around on YouTube, or like at least the 3 years that I had my you know, been saying like, hey, donate if you feel like it. I think I had one person give me some Litecoin. I think it was Litecoin. And that was about it. Like, they gave me some Litecoin, which is pretty funny, but yeah. Um, yeah, I fucked around with a few bucks on like those early like super shitty lending platforms, like from like I don't know what was that like 2000 no sorry 2019 2018 19 I think. What when was it that the big skyrocket happened and then with that one point the last time it went like crazy high back when it was like that and there was like all these lending platforms and what you did was like you knew they were all a scam but they would be like oh um here's our bullshit idea that like that it's bullshit and you're like well there's a bunch of people falling for the scam anyway. I might as well just put some money into this dumb scam they're saying is not a scam, and then when it goes up even a little bit, not waiting for the big moon, just when it goes up, just to that entice people, then just leave. Like the moon's not gonna. There's no moon. No moon. We're gonna go to the moon, boys. We're all gonna make it. Bullshit. Um. So yeah, I fucked around with some of that shit. It was pretty funny. I think I like got out of that stuff before it became like a straight up meme coin. Don't look up. I think I've seen that. That actually sounds familiar. Oh, here's a piece of fun news. Let me see. I had it right here. I almost want to save it for a video. Like, hey, what would you guys think if I made like a man like should I make like an old like a 2019 style call out video on somebody's channel? Because I came across this like uh this mental health worker, psychologist, therapist. I think it was like social family health therapist, blah blah blah. They did like a video on schizoid personality disorder kind of recently, and oh, it was pretty bad. It was like just God, the usual shit. The usual shit was pretty. It was a pretty like lack of nuance, lack of understanding, lack of any literature outside of maybe like one person like McWilliams and the APA or I mean the APA. What the fuck am I talking about? The I'm very tired. But point is, I was like, wow, that was bad. And then I was watching with a few folks on the Zoid Void, and in the comment section, they said they had a response to a question that I was like astounded. Like it was like the worst fucking answer I've ever heard when it comes to like the schizoid stuff. Like it was just like, what the fuck kind of answer. Like that's crazy. But it wasn't crazy because like it was so just off kilter, insane. It was more like you're saying the quiet part out loud type crazy. Like it was one of those things where I'm like, yeah, it really seems like a lot of psychologists are running under these like assumptions and this sort of lack of understanding about where this stuff comes from, why it is, right? Even if we're not talking about my own armchair bullshit theories regarding neurodivergence association, like, but just like even the straight up psychology personality disorder levels of like depth and context that other people have gone down. That most psychologists like they'll just avoid any personality disorder like the plague. And if it's one they don't know about, they're just like, nah, I don't want to learn all that. I don't want to learn all that. But it was kind of like, it wasn't even like a basic bitch sort of answer. It was like one coming from like a really like a place that I'm like, I hope most psychologists are not coming from this kind of place. Like most professionals are not viewing schizoid personality disorder or even personality disorders in general, but schizoid personality disorder like this. I really hope this is not like the mainstream take. That's how much I was bothered by that comment. So I don't know if I just want to talk about it on a stream or I just want to do like an actual video on it. It just like it was one of those like I was just so fucking frustrated by it, but I know it's not just this person, right? It's not like you're fucking taking shit. You're a fucking idiot. Like, you know, like that's dumb. Um I don't know that I want to. It's content, bro. What you want me to waste my content, bro? Come on. No, I don't know. I wanna see if I'll either integrate it somehow into this next Saturday stream, or I'll just do like a little video if I have time. Kind of just discussing the problem with it and how that sort of thinking is prevalent from my experience amongst a lot of psychs, especially especially if you're talking about like psychs that like actively put out content online, even if their channel is small. Because this person's channel was like, I think it was like less than 20K. I'm a tiny fucking niche channel, but this person's channel was like, I don't know, like 5 times bigger than mine, and so they have, you know, that much more, I guess, gravitas, or people listening to them asking her questions, and I'm like, no, please, why do you guys answer these questions this way? This hurts my heart. Please stop. um but yeah, I think maybe I'll, if I find the volition, I will do something for it. I think it's worth doing something for it. And I'm also trying to decide, like, I don't think I'm gonna like say who they are or anything. I'll probably just like, I don't know, just get the quote itself and nothing else. Because I don't care. I don't see schizoids being like, what, the fucking 100 people that watch my stream total, like you guys plus the VOD people. Yeah, you guys are all you're gonna raid their channel with 100 people. Yeah, okay. I'm not really worried about that either. But I don't know. I think it's unnecessary. I don't think it's necessary to single out a person with the horrible comment that got left behind, because I have a feeling that this is like, because they said it in such a like like in a tone that was, they thought was helpful and good and the most like noble position on them. Like they sound like they were being sincere and they weren't being malicious, or they weren't being like intentionally kind of like incorrect or pushing any kind of idea that they didn't believe was like, oh yeah, this is what it is. And my fear is like, not fear, I want to call it a fear. Like I was thinking like, oh, maybe I should like hit them up and, you know, ask them why they think it is like this, and then challenge that. But like my concern, and I've kind of tried to do that in the past, but to just mostly just online, nothing like on the channel. And am I schizoid, or am I just unlikable and don't belong in life? Does it even matter? um Fucking active. The fear, or the apprehension, I guess that's a better word, I have, is that I'm gonna do that, and then they're just gonna like fallacy the living hell out of me. Like I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to, like, it's just gonna, like, because it's just depressing. You know, like they'll either bust out like, well, I got the degree, or I know, this is what this says, and that's what's in the DSM, and who are you to question that? And I don't know, like I always get scared that's like, scared's such a bad word. I'm always like, it's just averse to like risking that. I'm down, but like from a person that I can go like, yeah, this is This is a pretty good faith individual. And when it's up in the air, when you don't know, it's yeah. Like I would love nothing more than to have a uh, psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever, um, sit with me and discuss why like my ideas are absolutely out of hand and incorrect regarding schizoid personality disorder. Because I would love that pushback, and I would love to hear what arguments there are against my armchair bullshit. And if there are no arguments against it, my next question would be, then why aren't we testing these ideas? Why aren't we checking into them? Appeal to authority is a valid logical fallacy to point out there. Your experience as a living of the schizoid life means more than the exams they took, in my opinion. No, no, no. Yeah, I get that, but also like we have to take into consideration that like just because you have lived experience doesn't mean you're fully aware of all the intricacies of said personality disorder or issue that you have, right? Like part of the issue is oftentimes like not realizing or being able to like understand that it is an issue, that it is a problem, or you may realize it's a problem, but you might be looking at the wrong thing as being the problem or whatever. Like I'm not saying that in regards to schizoid specifically, but like just living it isn't always like that's. I would say that's like 70% of like that's understanding the experience. But you always need to get some kind of outside of the person who has it kind of perspective and how it's being perceived and such. Like that stuff's important, but it shouldn't dictate everything, which is kind of like the problem is that how it's perceived, how it's analyzed, how it's seen outside of the experience of the individual and the assumptions that get made is exactly the problem. The problem is that all that alone is generally what is understood about stuff like schizoid PD. And it has its purpose, it has its place, but it definitely cannot be the begin and end all of how you approach therapy for something of this nature. I just think it's funny that like they'll just call like if the forms of therapy that are available don't work on your problem, they just call you therapy resistant, which is really funny because it just puts the onus on the patient to they're not trying hard enough to make it work. I would just argue that if you only went by a diagnostic criteria described DSM, you probably come away with quite an inaccurate. Oh yeah, for sure, 100%, 100%, 100% on all cases, 100%. Yeah, don't disagree at all there, Andrew. 100% with you on that matter. Yeah, like one of the things I constantly hear about schizoids that drives me crazy, online and even in the research, is the idea that the schizoid is uh, is making the choice to be alone. Don't call me inactive, my it's the that it's like some choice to be alone, like that you decided I want to be alone, and it's way more complicated than that. It's so fucking more complicated than just some choice that was made, a preference, right? They make it sound like it's a fucking preference. That it's far more complicated than just a preference. There is a multitude of reasons as to why that choice was made, and it isn't because it's a preference. And that's where all the neurodivergent stuff starts coming into play. It's not a preference. It's a decision made due to specific types of conditions. It's for many, it's essentially their only alternative. Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Active, like it's it's that problem of not being able to connect with people and relate to them for a variety of reasons. I won't get into again. That essentially ends up creating an individual that prefers to be alone. Yeah, I mean, I prefer, like, not putting my hand on a hot stove, is that like a preference? I prefer not to feel pain on my hand. I prefer not to put my hand on the stove. That's my preference. You know what I mean? Like that's how it feels like when they say, "Oh, schizoids prefer to be alone." Like they made the choice. They just don't want to have people in their life. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah. I think that's like a belief that even schizoids end up like, even, and this might be a hot take, but I feel like a lot of schizoids, and like I said, my opinion, gas themselves up into believing. Um, because I don't blame them. Because why wouldn't you? Considering what led up to it. Um, yeah, because I mean, it's easier to think that, right? It's easier not even to believe. It's easier for your brain and your emotional issues, or lack of connection to those emotions. Like, it's easier to fucking just create that rationalization in your mind and live with it. That's like way less painful than saying that, oh yeah, I wish people that I could connect to existed, but none of them do. They do, but it feels as if none of them do. Um, because in many instances, you might not be able to even identify the kind of people it would work with. Um, and you generally don't find them in the wild very easily. So nowadays you can a lot easier because you got the internet. Definitely gassed myself into rationalizing that I wasn't interested. There's a lot more to it than that. Yep, that's what I mean. I did the same shit. I did the same exact shit. I was like, I don't need people. And then, like, I met my now wife 16, 17 years ago. And then I was like, wait, I think I need her. What? Or not here. I want her. That's a better place. I don't want to need anyone, but I want her. I want her in my life. I'm connecting to her. That was like, and then I thought at that point I was like, well, this is it. This is the only person. That's all I need. Why would I need anything else, or want anything else, or whatever you want to call it? Like, that's fine. That's enough. But like, even with my wife, it's like, yeah, okay, I connect to them on certain levels, but I don't connect to them on the same level of like like they didn't have the same lived experience as me, even if they had like some similar conditions. But they didn't have the same lived experience as me that made me still feel that disconnected from my own species, from other people around me in general, and including them. Um, on that level, I just, like, I couldn't include them in the connectivity. They couldn't be included because there would be no, I had no words to properly explain it that didn't make me feel like I was batshit crazy and question my sanity. Um, so then I said, well, I don't need friends. Not or I resign myself. I'm always gonna just want people around occasionally to share mutual interests with, but actually connecting to them on this human emotional level, that's not gonna happen. I got lucky with my my wife. I got super lucky. That's like lightning not gonna strike twice in the same place. And then my kids show up and fucking shit all over that. And I'm like, oh fuck! I'm just instantly connected to these fucking my little offspring. Yeah, and then yeah, it's just yeah. For years, I just thought like, I don't need friends. It just always falls. It just doesn't work out. Too many differences in thought, opinion, approach to life and existence. It's just not going to work. Too many needs and expectations that I cannot meet, nor do I want to meet. Right? And the fucking the Zoids proved me wrong. Being around them for the last couple of years proved me that I could extend beyond even that. Making friends with people that don't have expectations of you, other than you don't have expectations of them. Or turn your expectations into their obligations. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for being here. It's already 8:34. I usually just go for like an hour and a half or hour 20 minutes. If you enjoyed the stream, cool. If you didn't, I don't care. But if you have constructive criticism, put it in the comments. I love constructive criticism. It just helps me grow. Man, like I said, yeah, Patreon, PayPal, it's in the description. Support me there. I'm currently, I'm e-begging at this point currently. So, but I think things will start looking up soon. I hope. Yeah, the holidays really absolutely wrecked my work because I do the whole contract work, whatever bullshit. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. And as usual, when day is dark, always remember, happy day.